Welcome to Bottom Line Sports Talk. I'm George Abraham. You know my partner, Albert Campman. Albert, I was just talking to Greg here for a minute, and one of the things we're going to talk about college basketball today. We like to do these specials before the football, before baseball, before basketball. But what makes this basketball so strange to me is, and I even heard Coach K on his weekly show saying, like, nobody knows when it starts. Yep. It's strange.
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked questions last week. We both did to a college coach about scrimmages and about exhibitions.
What is what? Does it count on the record? And what I got from him, you're allowed three things, any mix or match, like 2 scrimmages in a exhibition game or something like that. That seemed to be what he said.
Yeah, if the scoreboard was out, that means it counts as an exhibition game. He said if it wasn't out, it's a scrimmage. I learned a lot from him that day because no one knows, even the college coaches.
No. Well, Coach K only won 1,200 games.
Yeah.
And it's ironic, though, in like baseball, we know it's around April 1st. Like if you told me when to start, I'd say, get looking around, and you'd be close. But here's something I didn't know. 3 of the last 7 were outside the rankings in the preseason. 2 outside the top 10.
Yeah, so if you people who are watching TV and looking at the rankings, don't be so sure they're going to win the championship.
No, don't be mad if your team's not there. Just give them the old show me.
Yeah, don't forget UConn was ranked number 18 in 2014, Villanova number 11 in 2016, and Carolina number 6 in 2017. None of them picked in the top 5. If you're going to study it, and you want a thought on who might win, look for experience. No, don't look at the one and dones. The 7 teams that have experience are usually the ones that come in at the end. And now, George, we had a big thing with experience. We had the portal. We had the transfers. And don't think the team before you saw last year is anything close to come back
Texas.
This year.
I know Texas. They have who Texas had, and he's got half of who he was taking to Texas Tech.
Well, he has all over the country. Yeah, Texas is the portal of all portals. They have an all-star team playing out now.
Can they do it?
I have them picked in the finals. I have one. I have them going.
Yeah.
With Coach Bird coming.
Yeah, he plays defense.
Coach Beard coming in there and playing.
Yeah. Talk about the top 7.
Doing.
Name the 7, in case some people are not.
Here are the top 7 teams going in. Gonzaga, we saw them last year get knocked off. UCLA really came on strong at the end last year.
Game was a classic.
Kansas, who I think is going to, when they get the Martin kid from Arizona State, they just upped themselves about 12 places in the rankings. Number 4, Villanova, who's always there also. 5, Texas, who I really love. 6, Michigan, who I really, really love. And the team that's surprising jumped in there because of experience. All 5 starters back. Did not go to portal route. They're playing with who they have, and that's Purdue. We have a local kid.
Butler kid.
Yeah, Ethan Morton from Butler.
And you know, they always mix in a Euro or 2 that can shoot. That's what his Achilles heel is. Mm-hmm. He got to the basket at will in Western Pennsylvania at 6'4". But in the Big Ten, they'll just knock him on the ground and take the ball from him. And he is not the outside shooter.
I bet you he will be by now. I'm thinking he's been there 2 years.
He's going to have to. Because those Euros can shoot.
Yeah, I think he will be. He's a great passer. That's what I got, and I thought he was a tremendous passer. We'll see how much he plays this year. He started off last year getting 20 minutes. By the end of the year, he was down to 7 or 8 minutes a game.
Hey, once again, how many kids did we train over the years? One thing you must be able to do, they give you the coach, I want a defender and I rebound. Bottom line is, if you can put the ball in the basket, they'll find a spot for you.
Yeah, we know the talent wins out with athleticism. We know speed. We know jumping ability. Those all are part of Division I. But the guys who can do that, plus put the ball in the basket, that's who wins the national championships.
So you think this year someone in the top 10 is going to win it? We're not going to have to reach down to 20.
Normally, that's what. That's three have done it. The average NCAA tournament results in the teams top ranked in the top 2 in the preseason. They usually get 3 wins in the tournament. So don't think if you're ranked, you're getting knocked out first round. You keep playing. You go
2 to the 16.
You go a long way.
4 to the Final Four, 6 to win it all.
Yes,
that's how it works out.
Yep.
64, 32, 16. Okay, so you're looking at that.
And Gonzaga's the number 1 team ranked again. I don't think they should be this year. We're going to find out. And Coach Few got himself in trouble. I saw he was in trouble with
He just last week went before the judge. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
hey Mark, you're a role model, you're a leader, and you make enough money to have a driver. See, this is the other thing.
Yes.
These guys have, in my mind, when you're pulling down 7-figure salaries,
Right.
which they all are.
All are.
You have to get a driver. You got to call an Uber. Call an Uber. You cannot drive around drunk and kill somebody and then say you're sorry. See, I get tired of that nonsense.
Yeah, as George said, they don't have to drive themselves. They can get somebody. But we're talking about Gonzaga. They've really upped their ante. They're when you're number one preseason again, and you lost 3 of your top scorers, that tells you they're going on reputation and good players coming in. I don't think, I'll say it again, that they're going to be there at the end this year. I'll be surprised if they are. Teams we do like, though, a lot, start with Texas. We already talked about Texas already. New coach Chris Beer coming in from Texas Tech. Transfer. Got 2 starters coming back at Texas, but he also had the best players from Minnesota, University of Massachusetts, and
Marcus
Utah.
Carr. I've seen Marcus Carr and I've seen Timmy Allen.
Yeah, and Trey Mitchell from Massachusetts.
And you know what? Shaka had them playing at the end of the year.
Yes, he did. Shaka didn't leave the cover band.
No. And then, Barry's the old Bobby Knight assistant, but they play modern. They play up and down. They guard. I think from watching them, and I've watched them quite a few times, they guard, but they guard as much as they'll let you guard today. The hand checking and all that's going, and the drive and kick has made, you hug. If you hug in the base, you're going to get beat. No, so consequently, I hear them talking about this defense. I don't see it.
Yeah, they close out on the 3-point shooters. They do it the best. They do it the best in the country. They try to they double team the post. All of them do it those ways. They all copy the same way, but it's who does it the best and who guards the ball the best. And sometimes when you watch Texas Tech play now, it's going to be Texas. I think that's what they do. They funnel the ball the right place. They put the ball in. They're well coached, and what they do, they run motion. They're one of the few teams that runs motion. He still runs Bobby Knight's motion: screen, roll back, screen, skip screen, slip screen.
We like to see some movement.
He does it. He does it.
If you're an old timer like him and me, you like it for no other reason. There's somebody actually moving and cutting and maybe actually bump somebody.
Yeah, so when you watch Chris Beard's team play, he added the pick and roll, which Bobby Knight did not have. But he runs Bobby Knight's motion offense. If we want to look it up on YouTube. But he added up pick and roll with it. So now he's got the full complement in there. Chris Beard's one of the top 10 coaches in the country, no question about it. Everybody will tell you that. I'll tell you another team to watch that finished up strong last year was St. Bonaventure. They have great basketball legacy at that school. They come in the top 25 for the first time. They're going to be a tough out for teams also.
You know who used to, Mac, your old coach, he ran a basketball camp in Erie, and there were always a lot of Olean guys there. That's where the Bonnies, that's
right,
where
St. Bonnie is. Yes, they are. That's exactly right. And they return all their players. And they finished up last year, finished up winning the tournament, going into the tournament. St. Bonaventure is another team that we're going to mention in our top 10, 12 teams that we're talking about. So we already mentioned Texas, and now we've already mentioned St. Bonaventure. Now, everybody has UCLA in there, and I understand why, how they finished. Johnny Uzang is an All-American on the top 5 players listed for this year.
Hey, talk about that game against Gonzaga. A, it got Mick Cronin famous.
Right.
In a loss. And B, if you like guys who can go off the dribble.
Oh, yeah, he has.
How about the end of that game for UCLA?
He has them. Yes, he does. And 4 of them are coming back. Jack Campbell, and Riley are coming back, along with a transfer from Rutgers named Miles Johnson. And if you followed Rutgers last year, they had a really good team. So, highly rated freshman Peyton Watson. UCLA, our third team, will be there at the end playing. That Pac-12 was dangerous in basketball. You never know when you get beat on a Saturday night. They are a team though that's built from last year.
Remember this too at that tournament. Everyone discounted them, and you looked around in the Sweet 16. There were 3 of them there.
Yeah, remember that? Oregon State made that run last year.
Yeah, no, these teams. Listen, I'd stay up and watch some of that midnight nonsense, and you are hard pressed to win on the road.
Yes.
Not that you're not in the Big Ten.
Hard to win on the road, though, it is.
Man, I'm telling you, you go into Oregon State, or they play those brother-sister games
Yes, they
Thursday,
do.
Saturday.
Yeah, the Arizonas, both Arizonas, Southern Cal, UCLA.
Yeah, and you think, well, we're going to Washington tonight.
You're getting beat there, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next thing you know, you're looking, you're like, dang, we're 4
Washington State, no question.
No.
Then we go to Memphis, and
Go.
they're super dangerous because they're recruiting. And they're coming off the NIT championship last year, which I've seen in the past. Teams are really built off that.
Yeah, they win.
Once you win a championship, and I don't care where it's at.
And you get 5 games there.
Yes.
You get a weekend in New York at the end. They played home floors. They do it differently than they used to. But the bottom line is this guy, they better keep an eye on this guy.
Yeah,
because he's Penny Hardaway. He's got between his reputation.
He's bringing in players.
And the fact that Memphis has a tradition.
Yes.
And he is Memphis, if you know what I mean. They're dangerous.
Yeah, and he brought in two of the top 5 players in the country.
There you go.
Bates and Duran. When you bring in 2 of the top 5 in today's world, that's the Dukes and Kentuckys. That's who they get. This catapults Memphis into the NCAA tournament, and maybe a Final Four choice.
Duran reclassified, right? That's what.
Yes.
Okay.
They will not be surprised. Let me tell you that. There won't be a surprise to anybody. But we had to put them in there because this is the place that's taken off. And recruiting is the name of the game. George has talked about Boeheim forever.
And who'd they beat, too, though? Al and I, forever, football, basketball, who did they beat out to get them? Like when Pitt, they'll sign a guy, and I look, it was Rutgers.
Right.
And, the guy beat out Oregon, Michigan State, and he was going to go to the G League and get paid.
Yeah, top teams. The top teams in the country. So Memphis is our next team that we mentioned. Now we got 4 teams mentioned. And we go to a team people are not talking about, so we're going to put them in there. And I think it's really idiotic to pass over Michigan State. I don't think you pass over an Izzo squad. Just when you think they're not going to be any good is the time they show up. And in the Big Ten is a really good conference, but that's the team I will never cut short on. Michigan State.
Let's talk about him. He's got a reputation. Obviously, 15 and 13 is not Izzo-like.
Right.
But, there was a pandemic. There were, practices were different. I heard a coach the other day saying, we couldn't get together at my place. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. If you were obeying the rules, would appear some weren't.
Right.
But the bottom line is, I would never figure Izzo, 15 and 13, not coming back and taking names.
Yeah, and what he did was he went out and signed a 5-star named Max Christie, that was a legendary player in high school. So he went out and got him. But more importantly, Michigan State lost their toughness last year. And so he went out and got Northwestern guard Tyson Walker. Not the offensive player of the year. The defensive player of the year.
Well, what do you think, Izzo? What do you think of?
Yeah, so he needs toughness, and he wants to win with toughness. And he thought they were weak last year on that side of it, and he said, "Oh, we're going to do something about it." So while everybody was out getting superstars offensively, he went out and got Walker from Northeastern, and look out because he will make them a tough team.
Well, talk about some of Izzo's things like the rebounding.
That's number 1 on his list.
In his mind, if you can't control the backboard, you can't win. And if he has to put some pads on or he has to throw the ball up and say, okay, you're not leaving until you get 2, he'll do it.
He's done it forever. They've always been the top 5 or 6 or 7 in the country with rebounding. Last year, they were still a good rebounding team, but if you watched them play, they weren't tough. And Izzo cannot stand that. He won't stand for that. So I look for Michigan State to get their toughness back and win in the manner how Michigan State wins on the boards. Then we got a surprise team in the ACC. Everybody talks Duke and Carolina. I still like Carolina a lot. But the team that's really coming on is Mike Young's Virginia Tech team. Veteran-laden coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the ACC. They'll have to beat out Florida State, who's good again. They'll have to beat out North Carolina. and Duke. The league is loaded.
Yeah.
And everybody forgets Virginia.
Who's your easy night? Notre
Yeah.
Dame at Notre Dame.
Yes, that's
Clemson
right.
at Clemson.
Yeah,
No
we know
doubt.
how good that league is.
No.
They made that a super league.
No.
They did make that a
It should
super
be
league.
2 leagues in my mind.
Yes, so
It really
so
should be.
how big it is too. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And Pitt has no chance in that league. I don't care what. And Pitt can play their very best.
You know, we didn't mention Florida State or Miami.
Well, Florida State, I did mention them. They're going to be good.
I mean, you know,
Miami, we didn't mention.
When
though.
aren't they good? Though?
No, that's the truth.
And how about this dude played for him at Wofford?
Yeah, and you watch Wofford play. My gosh,
Nothing.
They're awesome every year.
No,
They're awesome
fundamentals.
every year, and he got the transfer from there, Storm Murphy, that adds more to the list at Virginia Tech. So Virginia Tech becomes another one of our teams to watch. We've already mentioned Michigan State and Memphis, UCLA, St. Bonaventure. We've already went right down the line with Texas being at the top of the list. But the team that really you have to watch this year, and he's always been good, but he's going to be in the national championship picture this year. That's Kansas. He decided that, listen, I'm not going to go through what I did last year and can't score. So if he can't score, he went out and got Remy Martin from Arizona State. And I know Arizona State really well because my point guard who I played for me is the SID out there, and he raves about Remy Martin. And if you watch Kansas play, he needed somebody off the dribble, George. And he went out and got him. And he also got 4 other players in the transfer portal. He said, I'm not going to – he's like –
He was the leading scorer in the Pac-12.
Yes. No.
Oh, my God.
No,
You
he's just
add him to Kansas
Yeah,
Town.
he's just outstanding.
Oh, I'm all in now.
Yeah. So when you talk Remy Martin, he's going to get. He needed somebody to go off the dribble. When the clock went down last year at Kansas, and that shot clock goes down, your plays out the window. There's no plays anymore.
one-on-one.
It becomes 1-on-1, and that's what Martin can do.
4 games over 30.
Yes. Oh yeah. He's a scoring machine.
Got my attention. No.
Yeah, and he landed other players too. He landed Yusufo from Drake. He had landed from all over the place. They got players. I think he has six others coming in. He told the Kansas players, if I recruited you and you're not playing good, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm taking you out. And that's what he's done.
Yeah, and he's taking the NCAA head on. They're obviously afraid of him.
Oh, yes.
Because they had every chance in the world to get him. And he showed them how sorry he was by having Snoop Dogg at Midnight Madness with stripper pole.
Yes.
So he basically gave the NCAA the middle finger.
Yeah, so you got him, you got Wade from LSU. You got guys just saying, hey, listen, I'm not listening to what you have to say.
If you really want to pull that, do you want to pull that cover off the sewer? Mm-hmm. Right? Let's just put it back.
Yeah, they're putting it back. They don't want to see Duke in there. They don't want to see Kentucky in there. No question about it. They make their money off the NCAA tournament, so they're not going to lose anything there. Not those billions of money, not millions, billions of dollars.
No, you nailed it.
And my favorite team is coming up next, and that's Michigan. I think Howard proved to me that he's the best pro coach to come into college basketball of all of them. And then when Hunter Dickinson decided to stay, I didn't realize he did.
Talk about that for a minute.
Once he decided to stay, look
But
out.
see, that's the advantage Juwan Howard has. He can sit that kid down, and he can say, now look, this looks like you're not ready. Mm-hmm. And I know I played, 17 years
Right.
or whatever. Here's the advantage. If you wait one more year, you will make this up in your second contract because it will be more lucrative and you will gain the experience. And I think he can tell a kid that, and the kid will believe him, where if you or I thought, they might think we're being selfish.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point by George, that they look at the rings. They look at how much you've been in the league, and that's Juwan Howard. And then you add the number 2 recruiting class in the country coming in, which is normally Kentucky and Duke. He blew them away in recruiting. And so you add that with transfers.
And he's a Michigan man. Like, when you think of him, like I saw him at the football game last week sitting in the stands.
Yes.
He gets it. Yeah. He knows he's a Michigan man. And that carries a lot of weight there.
Yeah, no question about it. People who know him personally that I've talked to that I don't know, they say he's the most intelligent guy they ever met either. So you add intelligence, you add the league, you add recruiting power, and you add a transfer that I didn't mention yet coming in was Devontae Jones, Sunbelt Player of the Year. The Sunbelt's very underrated. You're talking about Michigan's going to be loaded.
Absolutely. Hey, another thing, too, we could say, when you look at that Big Ten, it's a battle night after night.
Yes, it is.
You have to be tough. Like when Izzo said tough, he doesn't just mean tough physically.
Yeah. Forget it, because you're playing on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and you're not mentally and emotionally into the next game. You are getting beat up. You're getting beat. Michigan proved last year how tough they could be. They took a long run into the tournament, and they're coming back with a team that I think is always tough. And we already talked about Michigan State. Michigan, well, the third team in that league that look out for is Painter's team from Purdue.
It's completely different, though,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yes.
They're one of 4 or 3 that didn't add anybody.
They didn't add
Now,
anybody.
this is different.
Yep, he decided he was going to go with the beautiful team he has coming back. The chemistry he's developed. All 5 starters coming back. 91% of their scoring coming back. He knows the Purdue way. And I think it's important that people know Painter played at Purdue. He knows exactly how you can win. They've always won. He's always won. And he does it the same way that Izzo does. You are going to be tough, and you're going to shoot the basketball. Those two things are really important.
They guard.
Yeah, they do. Oh, they really guard.
They used to really guard.
Yes, and you can't do that anymore. Like George said,
Yeah, you
that's out
can't.
now. And Trevian Williams, if you watched him play last year, just a dominating player inside. I like guards because of the three-point shot, but Williams is a dominating player, and he'll dominate in there for sure again. So Purdue's our next team. Now we go to a team that's way off the chart with the guards, how he does it. Musselman has done this forever. He did it at Reno, and now he's doing it in Arkansas. He doesn't care where you come from, who you come from. He tells his players, if you don't play good, I'm getting somebody to replace you. And George, he's on the run again. He's got players come from everywhere and anywhere. He's got it from the SEC. He's got them from the ACC. He brought in, you're going to see a team like he had at Reno. They say, where does this team come from? Because they're going to be scoring and running around like crazy and playing like maniacs.
Arkansas style, like if you're watching the game, don't worry if they're up 9 or down 9, because it has nothing to do with the
But they're going to be playing
score.
at the end. They'll be playing at the end of the game because that's the way he does it. They have a good returning cast. I wouldn't be surprised if they got into the Final Four with the talent he's put together. That's still the number one thing. If you look at the NCAA tournament, look at talent, look at schedule, look at coaching in that order. And if you got the talent and your schedule matches up, and you're ready for that tournament. Now the coaching takes over. And Musselman, that name's synonymous with good coaches.
Yeah, for the young kids.
Yes.
His pap had the problem. He was the coach the night that the Minnesota guy kicked Luke
Ohio
Whitty
State,
from
right?
Ohio State. He kicked him, and he got blackballed.
Yes, he did.
And he ended up in like South Alabama somewhere where he could coach his tail off. This guy has...
He has genes in him. Yeah, he does.
A true story on him. You're going to be surprised. You're old school. You would like this. He was coaching in the G League. He was having a pre-game thing or pre-practice. And he asked this guy who they played next. He didn't know, and he got rid of him. No, he didn't.
That's the way he is. That's the Musselman way. But the other Musselman way is he doesn't care who you are or where you go. Here's where he got guys from coming in. Miami, Florida, South Dakota, Pitt, Wichita State, Little Rock, and A&M. Now, he's going to have a whole new team, and they were all the top players on that team.
Yeah, you have to melt. Now, listen, people, do us a favor. Don't underestimate
The coaching
taming
involved.
those egos.
Yes,
Like everyone always says, Phil Jackson did. Well, he might not have been the best
That's
XO
what he
guy,
did.
but look at the egos. He had to control this nut going to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
He had the greatest player of all time who wanted to gamble till 4 a.m. And he had other guys who thought, well, wait a minute, plane can't leave till Michael gets on.
Yeah, that's a big part of today's coaching style. That's the way it is. There's no question about it. And when I say today, Jackson started that. That he's going to do some ego things going to happen. And one of the old timers still coaching that we put in here is Florida State. We mentioned him already. Always in the ACC elite. Always gets overlooked. Brought in a transfer from Houston and Kentucky, 2 big-time name schools that were always play late. He was also a great recruiting class, right up there with Michigan's, ranked number 2 in many of the so-called rankings.
Talk about Florida State. What do you think about 6 look-alike guys at 6'7"?
Yes.
They all look like they could just tear you apart.
Yep.
They play great defense.
They're so long and so big.
And they rebound.
But Florida State.
Yeah.
That's what. No. People who don't play against them when they start playing, they can't believe how long and big they are.
Yeah.
They go from 6'8", 6'7", to 7'1", and they play all 4 or 5 positions. They play out there all the time.
That's a good way.
That's
to
Florida State, and that makes it a little different than what you're used to playing in NCAA basketball. And lastly, a team that really has been struggling. Roy Williams took it as far as he could, and then he said, it's time for me to get out with portal. So Hubert Davis, who has North Carolina blood in him, took over the program. Lost one of their great centers. I think he did go to Gonzaga. That's why they like him so much. But Carolina, the style play is bruisers. They get bruisers, and that's what he did. He went out and signed Oklahoma's Brady Manick, a 6'11", 234. You watched him play. He's a bruiser. They throw the ball inside more than any team in the country. That's why North Carolina plays. And Davis already said he's not changing one thing. So you see Dean Smith, you saw Roy Williams, you're going to see Hubert Davis.
That one guy he went to get from Marquette had 34 and 11 against him last year.
That's that handshake line that George talks about.
No, they've turned the handshake line into meet and greet.
Yes.
And they're not supposed to, but how do you monitor it? Now you don't have to see when you had to sit a year. Let's talk about that. It used to be if you went backwards, you could play right away. So this is why IUP and some of these D2s have big-time players, because these kids didn't want to sit. With this one-time, basically, exemption rule, you can transfer anywhere. So now you get a little school like St. Francis. This happened. They had a real nice post. The kid was maybe 6'8", he grew to 6'11". They got something there to build on. For St. Francis, that's a big deal. Well, the coach thinks he's going to do him a favor. He schedules Texas A&M, the kid's from Texas. Well, fill in the blanks. The next thing you know, the kid's playing for them. Now, in the old days, he had to sit out of here, so there was something to think about. Today, man, about 3 weeks ago, Utah was playing San Diego State. Game went overtime. Yeah, when the game went overtime, they changed quarterbacks. He quit Monday.
The other quarterback that got benched to me.
Yeah, he quit. So this is what you got with this portal. Now, we've given you all the good stuff. You know, so-and-so had 34 and 11. Well, you know what we didn't mention? What did Marquette coach say about it? Or this guy that came in from Kentucky. You know, and Cal gets this all the time because he gets so many good players. He gives them this, it doesn't matter if you score babble, when they generally eat it up because he has so many guys in the pros.
He does. He puts them in the pros.
Yeah, but the truth is, you're not going to shoot 27 times.
No.
Like, you might shoot 27 times if you go to Arkansas.
Right. Yeah, so that's the difference. And we don't have Kentucky in this year, but it'd be stupid for us not to put them in there. But we name other teams that we thought the teams are not mentioning that I thought would be wise in there. When you get down to it, when I looked at the Final Four, I told you I loved Michigan and Texas. There's no doubt about it. Then I looked at the talent level came in through with Kansas and Arkansas. I see Michigan, Texas, Kansas, and Arkansas playing at the end.
That'd be a good Final Four.
No, it'd be a great Final Four.
Hey, let's talk about one more thing before we got a couple minutes. A team like the Bonnies, can they? We know they can get to the 16.
Well, they can get to the Final Four.
Can they get to the Final Four?
Oh, yeah, no question about it. Yeah. I saw them play last year. They have enough talent.
I saw them come into Pitt a couple years ago, and Pitt thought they got beat by the Sisters of the Poor, and I told my buddy, I said, that team's good.
Yeah, there's probably some other teams out there we're not mentioning that can do it. I mean, this isn't the Dukes and the Kentuckys of the world you had no chance against.
No. Hey, thanks again for watching Bottom Line Sports Talk. We hope you enjoyed our preseason NCAA basketball special.